That's a very good question, because you think you spend millions of dollars on cybersecurity, you're safe, you're protected. But in reality, attackers only need to find a little breach, a little gap. And I usually tell the analogy of a roof with shingles. So when you look at a roof with shingles afar, like, it looks perfect, okay? Even if there would be a tiny crack in the shingles, from afar you can't see that crack. And if it's a big roof, it's really hard to find that little crack. But when you have a rainstorm, rain actually will always find that crack, always will find that crack. And the rain is like the attackers. You are dealing with a multitude of attackers. Our clients typically receive 400 attacks a minute. So you can imagine that that's like a flood. And so even if you have really, really good cybersecurity that protects you mostly, eventually they will find this little crack. And they actually use the same tried and true techniques, because this crack is gonna be always in some of the few categories that they use to breach. The one difference is, just like in a roof with shingles, you go through the first crack, and then underneath maybe there is another layer where you're protecting. And so in this layer, now you go laterally and you're gonna have to find the next crack. That's not even visible now. So if you had like an infrared camera to detect that crack on the roof, now the under layer, it's even harder to detect that crack. So what's happening is the water seeps in, and the water then will stay in your attic. And you're in the house and you feel like there's no problem. So there was a rainstorm, there was no water, not even a drop of water came into the rooms, but the water is already in the attic. And by the time you notice that water has seeped through, it's gonna be too late, because in the attic everything is rotten, and then they can come in to whichever room they want, because that's what basically the hackers do. They come in, they lay low, they explore, and then they will exfiltrate the data from the compartment, from the room in the house that they want to exfiltrate the data from. So that's kind of how they get in. And what you really want to do is to be able to have 100% coverage on these gaps. Or at least, if you have multiple buildings with roofs, you need to know which building is the one you want to focus on. And you would say, okay, this other building, maybe I can take some risk, because I'm not going to spend enough money to cover everything everywhere. So what I really want to do is to at least have, that's my primary building, that's the most important. There are other important buildings, and then maybe this training building over there, it's okay if it gets wet, because people, they go training there. So that's still kind of not ideal, but it's livable. So that's the other aspect that we're trying to do, is to make sure that our customers can prioritize, so that you can focus on what's really the most important.